Hey guys, Shadowz here, welcome back to another Gears of War video. Today we're going to be discussing how the Gears franchise plans to grow, including all new Gears games, books, comics and more. The Gears of War series is one of Microsoft's billion-dollar gaming franchises, beginning 15 years ago under Epic Games and now shepherded by the Croatian studio. After the cliffhanger choice and the ending to the Gears 5 story, the release of Gears Tactics and the Highbuster campaign story DLC, Xbox gamers and Gears fans alike are of course wondering what is next for Gears of War and where do the developers at the Croatian studio go from here. Back in May 2021, TC officially posted a statement announcing the studio moving to next-gen development of the Gears of War series, confirming multiple projects in the works right now, but also the fact that the Xbox Game Studio team wouldn't be revealing any new titles for quite some time. Now, while it does sound like we are going to be waiting several years for a brand new Gears of War game, it doesn't mean the continuation of the Gears franchise is stopping anytime soon whatsoever, as TC are already planning and plotting out the future of the ever-growing Gears of War universe. Back in April 2020 last year, IGN actually did an interview with the Croatian studio discussing what the future of the Gears series could look like and how the Gears universe can grow, sharing a major insight into the behind the scenes and just the studio mindset, and the many reasons why Gears of War isn't going anywhere soon for a very long time indeed. The Gears of War saga began with Sergeant Marcus Phoenix, a COG soldier court-martialed inside the Slab prison 14 years into a planetary war across Sarah against a subterranean locust horde of monsters that killed and destroyed for global annihilation. Ever since the original Gears of War game, we have seen a wide variety of main characters across all of the different mediums, being games, books to comics. This does actually include the following: Marcus Phoenix in the original Gears trilogy, Damon Baird in Gears Judgment and Aftermath, Michael Barrack in Ram Shadow, General Ram in Ram Shadow and Rise of Ram, JD Phoenix in Gears 4, Kate Diaz in Gears 5 Ascendance and Bloodlines, Leslie Mack in Highbusters, Gabe Diaz in Gears Tactics and Bloodlines, Alex Brand in Baron, Ty Calisto in The Quickening, Jonathan Harper in Harper's Story, Jay Stratton in Midnight, Adam Phoenix in They Also Serve, to Victor Hoffman in Unseen. TC go on to further explain to IGN that the storytelling narrative is what has always just drived and shaped the Gears franchise when it comes to the release of new games, books and comics, focusing on a main character and world building around them in accordance to the overall Gears of War universe. For our stories to resonate with our players, we need them to be able to not identify, but feel like they can care about and get involved with the main character. So it comes down to creating stories that have a really compelling protagonist, making the stakes personal to that main protagonist character. Bonnie Matt, the franchise narrative director at TC, continues by saying, and because we need to tell stories in our universe, we then need to make sure that the protagonist actually feels relevant to our story, and sometimes we worry everyone in our universe is related to each other. We're trying not to do that, but there is still value in making the connection between people. Maybe it's sharing a history in a certain battle or something, so that there's a touch point and that we can make that connection between our new stories, our new characters and what came before, because there are certain things that I feel we're strong at with Gears of War. We tell these very over-the-top stories that we ground them with believable characters and believable performances. What we write is a really strong way of uniting our games, no matter what they are. Gears of War Tactics was the latest canon Gears game, and while it's probably very safe to assume right now, the Croatian studio's next big game is Gears 6. More Gears stories are very likely on the way, ranging from before, during and even after Kate and Marcus' stories are long over. Negative space is a massive factor in the storytelling of the Gears of War series, as it's a very smart way for the team over at TC to allow different people working on Gears projects to have the complete freedom to having new ideas and approach things differently in a video game universe that isn't directly tied down to a linear forward pathway only. TC go into further detail on negative space by sharing the following. Negative space gives us a way of keeping some of our story a mystery. For example, the origins of the Locust were talked around in earlier games and book novels, but because it wasn't defined in pure black and white, in Gears 5, we were actually able to take that question of where did the Locust come from and tie it into Kate's whole journey. So those types of negative space, little bits, nooks and crannies in our universe, when we're thinking about new Gears stories, we do go and try to figure out what hasn't been explored yet and where can we sneak our way in. If you take an overall look across the entire Gears of War universe, there is realistically 125 years of a timeline out there based on the Pendulum Wars, the Locust War, the Lambent Pandemic, the Stranded Insurgency, to the current Spawn War. TC have literally got unlimited potential for where new Gears stories could be told on Sarah, with an infinite amount of possibilities for storytelling going forward from the perspective of other COD Gears squads, the UIR and the Stranded to maybe even one day in the far future, space travel and exploration of Sarah's solar system. Head of Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty at Microsoft once described the Gears of War IP as a special rarity in gaming, where you have such an established universe filled with opportunities to explore the series in a new direction. Matt said in an interview with Game Industry back in February 2020 the following: "I think about our franchises in terms of worlds and characters and stories. Those are really important. In terms of fictional sci-fi universes that are out there, the Gears universe has a lot of potential for us to build upon, both in terms of evolving it and revolutionizing it. I am confident we have the raw material and the talent in place in order to move forward." Now lastly, getting back to TC's final thoughts with IGN regarding the future of the Gears franchise and the general atmosphere thought process at the studio, Bonnie Matt finishes it off with a massive amount of enthusiasm by stating, "I'm just really excited about all of the different avenues of stories that we can tell, referencing not only the different areas that the team want to explore, but the new mediums in books and comics, and now with Gears Tactics, brand new gaming genres that they have to do it. We're figuring that out next, but Tactics and High Buses is a great opportunity to tell a brand new story that's going to fulfill that Gears of War itch, while we figure out and plan what's going to happen next in the main series. So I just feel like we have so many opportunities for our fans and our players to still get engaged in our universe, and we're not going to stop." Please make sure to leave me a comment down below telling me what you think. What is your guys' opinion on the TC interview with IGN and their stance on the future of Gears and how they plan to grow the Gears franchise? Are there personally any Gears stories that maybe you would love to see told as either a brand new game, a new book or new comic? For me personally, I still feel like there is an amazing amount of untapped potential out there for a brand new Gears of War story set during the Locust War. You could have a new story based upon a high-tech Onyx Guard squad tasked with a very important extraction, a surviving squad of UIR soldiers during the fall of Groznyj stuck behind enemy Locust lines, COD Geass squads fighting in the Locust War across the world of Sarah, leading up to and following the fall of Aethera, to even the very interesting perspective of the stranded civilians as they try to survive the attacks from the Locust and the Lambent enemies alike. I can't wait to see where the story of Gears of War goes in the future. There will always be another adventure to be had and enemies to crush in your wake with a curb stomp, with maybe one day in the far future, actual world peace finally setting for good for the humans of Sarah. So there you have it guys, full details on how the Gears of War franchise plans to grow to the future of Gears with new games, books, comics and so much more. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe if you already. Thank you guys for watching, and as always I shall see you in the next one.